The Z Flip 3 has been getting a lot of attention online, but I wanted to take a moment to show off the green on green leather and really to walk you around the device proper to set the mood for what it's really like to use this thing. I mean, look at that hinge, it's too clean. But there really is one thing about this phone that I can't believe no one is talking about. It was so obvious to me, then in real life, it was so much better than I thought it would be. This thing is made for emulation. And we're going to take a look at what I think it does best. 3DS, DS, PS1, and N64. I mean, come on. A phone that you can fold in half and prop up, giving you great 4x3 real estate, and also solving the worst problem about touch controls, the goofy way it feels to hold a flat rectangle and press buttons. You can actually hold this thing like a proper gaming device. Now with that said, let's jump straight into some 3DS. So we're going to be using an app called Citra to emulate the 3DS. It's on the Play Store, and it's still in beta form, but I can attest that it is the most finished beta I've ever seen on the Google Play Store. I seriously can't recommend it enough. If you possibly can, go and download this and help support them, because it's on the right track. But that leads us to the most important thing. This is just uncomfortable. Have to have a controller. But if you could just grab the front and just bend it forward, now I can nuzzle it in there like a Game Boy, just like a Game Boy Advance SP. It's locked in there. Now I can almost not pay attention entirely to the touch controls. And my accuracy is almost like getting better every day. It's not breaking you from the game that you're playing anymore, not nearly as much. On top of that, Citra runs at least Ocarina of Time 3D 99% on this phone. It stutters sometimes because it compiles shaders early whenever you load, so if you're entering a new area you've never been before, it might stutter right when you enter a room. But at least that's made up for as soon as you load back in that area next time. The stutter's gone. And I really just can't understate how good this experience really is, especially when you pair a Bluetooth controller and sit it on a table like this. Now, let's focus a little bit more on the emulator performance. It works really well in Ocarina of Time 3D, but it's a beta, so performance is gonna vary game to game, and a lot phone to phone. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are good examples of games that might be a little too stuttery for you, or may not. They ride the line. And it's just based on the nature of the type of game. This emulator likes to compile the shaders ahead of time when you first load the game, but just by nature, you're always loading new textures, new Pokemon, new areas. So you're running into stuttering a lot with this game. But it's, again, as soon as you let it load an area once, or load a battle area once, or a new Pokemon once, it really does work itself out, and it's nice and smooth. But again, your results may vary on those titles. Now let's give Mario Kart 7 a try. This one actually does quite well and runs really smooth. Again, it's gonna skip and cut a little bit at the first time loading this menu and the first time loading every cart, but the good part is you kind of work through that by the time you load the level. And really my only complaint with this game realistically is the audio cuts a lot more than it does in most other games. I'm not really sure what it is, but the audio may cut even when the gameplay doesn't. And it's the only one that I've tried so far that does that. But overall, it's a good experience, and it can be a good experience on every game, and we're just in beta. I can only hope that they add a little more options for customizing the resolutions and moving each screen, because then that would really just lock this in. But that's enough with the 3DS. Let's take a step back and look at the DS. And also user experience. I mean, it should be the classic setup, right? You've got the phone. Then you've got the Bluetooth headphones of your choice. And then you've got the Bluetooth controller of your choice. But these three things have never felt like this before in tandem. Now, we're going to be using DraStic for the DS emulator. It's the tried and true. And we're going to show off just a couple of games. I mean, performance on DS really is absolutely perfect. I mean, you should expect no less from a phone like this. I would imagine most people watching this, your phone will also just breeze right through DS. So that leaves us open to experience it more, because we're not worried about whether it's gonna run the game or not. So DS, while in portable form like this, in SP mode, it feels so natural. So natural. I mean, before, on just normal flat phones, I could never run and do a triple jump like that before. I could never pull it off. My finger would always come off of, Y, and I would quit sprinting. This one, it just bang, every time. And it's just the perfect setup. These things don't get in between you and the game you're trying to play anymore. All they do is connect you to it. And nowadays, so many different headphones have noise canceling, but also amplified ambient sound, which to me is the most important, especially when playing old emulated games like any of them, especially the Game Boy and DS and 3DS. They have such a way of sounding so tinny over the speakers, but in the headphones, there's nothing between you and the game again, and the outside world is still let in. It just adds to the whole overall experience. But what else is it good for? We have great 4x3 real estate. What about old home consoles? And you're going to see shortly, there's actually something handy you can do with all of the emulators. So we're going to use ePSXe, bend it forward. Now look at that. The app has all moved to the top, and down here we have volume, brightness, screenshot, and notification shade. And it stays the entire time you're playing the game. So let's load up a PlayStation game real quick. Now, this comes down to, I hope the developers make some adjustments for this phone, or folding phones in general. Because if you pay close attention here, you can tell that my image is a little bit taller than it is wide. But after just a second, I really stopped noticing it. And I'd way rather have it be like this than have a 4x3 window in a 21x9 phone holding it landscape, or even holding a normal phone forward with a tiny little 4x3 window in it. And then having those quick controls down there and having the screen prop itself up just makes it feel like you literally have a tiny PlayStation in your pocket all the time. Just flip it open, sit it down, start your game, and when you're done, flip it closed, put it up. The event itself almost adds as much value as the feature set does. And overall performance is perfect. Haven't had one single problem with any of my games so far. Now, with all of that said, let's take a look at Nintendo 64. I'm going to be using M64Plus FZ, and N64 performance is just like PS1. It's buttery smooth every time. Not to mention, this is a really great emulator with awesome box art and organization. It's one of my favorites. And one thing about this emulator is that it actually does stretch the image appropriately on the top screen. As you can see here, we're gonna have, there's a proper 4x3. This is what I wish the PlayStation emulator did, but it doesn't do yet. It goes ahead and stretches the image to the whole top half of that phone there. But this is perfect. And again, I really can't understate what it's like to be able to just sit it down and have it face you. I can't believe nobody's talking about these things. But thanks for hanging out. In my next one, I'm going to walk you guys through how to set up the 3DS emulator, and also how you can get those controls on the bottom of your emulators or on the bottom of just about any app that you want. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and please stay tuned for the next episode of
The Nostalgic Future.